Some of y'all know my story. As a kid, it was rough going to church because church was a crazy place. It didn't make any sense to me. I was like, what is this? I was 7 years old. My grandmother would force me to go to this church, and this dude was up on stage, and he talking about, I don't know what he talking about, because he mad at everybody. And I couldn't figure out, I figured out why he was mad. I finally figured out he was mad because he had some phlegm caught in his throat. Because at the end of every sentence, he'd try to get it out. He'd be like, the Lord said, act like you. I'm like, Grandma, what's wrong with him? Nobody was teaching. One time I go to church, it's a dead body in the front. Nobody explains to a 7-year-old Michael Jr., it's a funeral, it's not church. I'm thinking, yo, that's how they roll. Like every third Sunday or so, they bring a dead body in as an example. Dude on stage yell at everybody like we did it. Remember asking my grandmother, Grandma, what happened to the man in the box, Grandma? Her whole explanation was, he in a better place. I'm like, what kind of box did he live in before? Dude on stage, all I understood from him was he went to see the king. That's all I got. He went to see the king. They called a kids choir to sing. I was in the kids choir. Not because I could sing. I was in the kids choir because I was a kid. And what song we got to sing? Soon and very soon, we are going to see the king. I don't want to see the king. That's what happened to the man in the box. So my childhood at church was miserable. I turned 14 years old. My grandmother did something different. Instead of forcing me to go to church, she asked me if I wanted to go. I was like, let me think this over for a nope. I'm going to no church. That stuff was miserable. My shoes didn't fit. They were too tight. They were like 3 sizes too small. And then she got this thing called a shoehorn. What is that for? That stuff should be illegal. And my feet just sitting in there, my toes all balled up all night, just, the church lasts 6 hours. So I said, I ain't going to church. No, Grandma, I'm not gonna go to church. Then I turned 15 years old, this was hot. When I turned 15 years old, me and a friend made a pact that we wouldn't curse anymore. Let's be real, you don't know nothing about God, you 14, 15 years old, as soon as you leave the house, that's what you do. You're like, bye, Mommy, I love you, bye. But beep, 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 beep. That's what you do. Me and a friend made a pact, we're not gonna curse anymore. If he heard me curse, he could hit me in the chest hard as he wanted to. And then vice versa. Dude could hit hard. I stopped cursing immediately. I just didn't, we were just like, yo, we're just not gonna do it. And we'd have some fun as 14-year-olds. We'd do things like any other, we would talk about each other. They'd be like, Michael Jr., you got some big feet. I'd be like, oh yeah, well you so dark skinned, I bet if you ride a motorcycle, you get a ticket for tinted windows. Right, we just. White people don't know if they can laugh at that joke, and I like, I don't know if I can. No, I can't, I'm sorry. Still funny. So we were still kids, but we just decided, me and my friend, we just decided we're not gonna curse. Then we're gonna fast forward, right? So all through high school, let me say this, all through middle school, it was really, really, really hard for me to read. I'm gonna share this. I don't share this a lot, but it was really hard for me to read. Let me say it like this, I couldn't read. Like for real, like grade school, middle school, if I saw a word and I didn't know what it was, I had to figure it out. And what I did was I came up with 7 different ways to look at one word to determine what the word was. I didn't even know I was doing it, it was just happening. So if I saw a big word like the word excite over the doors, if I saw that word, it's comedy, calm down, I can read now. But if I saw a word and I didn't know what it was, I would have to figure out what the word was. So I came up with 7 different ways to figure out. I would look at the font size, the color, the positioning of the word, how people responded to it. I came up with 7 different ways to determine what the word was. And then I got really fast at it. In high school, I was better at reading, but then I got so good at it, it got to the point where I was able to look at a situation, the same situation you look at, and you're like, yo, that's what it is. I look at it and I see 7 different possibilities almost immediately. So let's review. What the devil really meant for bad in the form of low self-esteem as a child who couldn't read, God has flipped and turned to good because that's the primary place where I pull my comedy from. Like, you may see things one way. I'm like, yo, I see 7 different, like when I read the Bible, I saw that Jesus had a little brother. I was like, man, that probably was a lot of pressure. His name was James. You know, everybody's like, man, James, why come you can't be one like Jesus? They never made a What Would James Do bracelet, did they? Never made that. They never made it. Are you explaining that joke right now, sir? Are you explaining that joke?